Your latest figures on your self-employed income can boost your borrowing power. So if you're a limited company, we can use your share of net profit and your salary, or your salary and your dividends, sorry. And if you're a sole trader, we're going to use your latest year's net profit. That means you could move sooner than you think, and it also means you could be saving thousands in rent and not filling up your pension pot of your landlord. So I had a first-time buyer who came to me. Well, there was a couple of first-time buyers. They were the older first-time buyer, and they'd been in rented for nearly a decade, really. All that rent they would have paid. But anyway, they were sick and tired of filling up their landlord's pension pot, but also every time that contract come up for renewal, there was being told, well, we may sell it, we may not, we'll see how we feel. They'd managed to save some deposit, and their parents were happy to top this up. But in his last year, he'd actually won a new contract. So he was a sole trader, and he'd won a new contract, which means it boosted his income massively. And that contract was then ongoing for him. And actually, because of that, it then boosted his income in other areas. So they were desperate to buy their first home and use this latest year's figures. Most lenders are going to look to average out your self-employed income. So they might use the last average of the last 2 years, and in cases, even 3 years. So he needed a lender that was going to use his latest year's figures. So they came to me and said, look, Jenny, we're desperate to move. We've got a really good deposit. I'm earning really good money, and that's going to continue moving forward. What can you do? So as always, I took his latest credit file and his latest 2 years tax returns, and I was able to source a lender that will use his latest year's figures. Now, they're not always out there, so you need someone to be able to find that lender for you. But they will look at the latest year's figures and they'll work out the affordability based on that. That increased the amount he could borrow. So rather than having to buy that first time buy a house where maybe you're going to be in there maybe 2 or 3 years, he could level up to that next level property, and he was going to be in there for like 5, 6, even up to 10 years, and they could really start to settle down and put their roots down. They'd actually put off getting married and having babies because they really super wanted to get that property first of all. So there's 3 things that you should be doing if you're wanting to use your latest year's figures when it comes to getting your mortgage. The first thing you need to be doing is you need to know that the lender's going to ask for an explanation around your increased profits. Now, the first person to do that is going to be your accountant. But if you don't have an accountant, then your broker can put an explanation to the lender and explain, you've had an increase in income because maybe you've won a new contract, or maybe you've just hit that good sweet spot and actually people are coming to you, so you've naturally had that increase. Maybe you've overpaid or cleared a debt, so it's increased your net profit. But the best person to do that really is your accountant. If you don't have one, get your broker to do it. Number 2, you need to get yourself a mortgage broker. Now, as I've said before, not all lenders are going to allow you to use your latest year's figures. So you need to find someone who's going to be able to use that. Rather than ringing up every single lender and asking them, A, what their rates are, and B, will you meet criteria, get yourself a broker. We're going to know what lenders will allow that, and we can place you with the right lender from the off. And it means we can get you the best rates as well. And number 3, because there's been such an increase in your accounts, the lender's going to look at your bank statements. So they're going to look anywhere between 3 to 6 months. So what we need to do is make sure the income that's coming into your business bank statements tallies up to the new figures that we're going to use when we're submitting that mortgage application. So if you've sort of had a bit of a flash in the pan, the lender's going to see that on your bank statement. So they're looking for sustainability. Okay, so the 3 things to consider if you want to use your latest year's figures and you're self-employed for your mortgage. 1, we need an explanation around why that's increased, and we need to be able to show it's going to be sustainable. Number 2, get yourself a broker. Not every lender allows you to use the latest year's figures. Don't waste your time looking for them. Hire a broker to do that. And number 3, they're going to look at your business bank statements to make sure that the income that's now coming in tallies up with the net profit that we've declared, or the salary and dividends that we've declared. So guys, if you want to know how your borrowing power changes using your latest year's figures, just drop me a comment below. And if you want my hints and tips on what you should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to your mortgage application, just check out my page.